there is no best. There's always going to be someone better and more talented and who knows more people. You just have to follow your own path, and that's it. I want to do this for you. I'm not going to charge you a dime. And I worked for free forever.
Hello, my fellow Martians. My name is Harry Mars, and this is the On Mars Pod, where we take a deep dive into creative professionals, entrepreneurs, and other inspiring Martians alike.
We had an emergency. We filmed a whole podcast, and the video files became corrupt. Even though my shirt says not my first rodeo, this is in fact my first rodeo. It's happening, and I still don't believe it. And it came at like the perfect time. Like, I needed something to happen, and I made it happen.
Hello, my fellow Martians. Today on Mars, we are joined by an entrepreneur, graphic designer, and recording artist. We got Jgriff in the building. Thank you so much for being here, brother.
What an intro. Thank you for having me.
Of course, man. So you're a multi-talented guy. And on Mars, we take a deep dive into creative professionals, entrepreneurs, and other inspiring Martians alike is what we say. So I had to have you on.
Thank you, dude. I'm happy to be here. This is going to be fun.
Yes, sir. So we have connections through Zach Futuristic. We've been connected for so long, and I actually just officially met Jgriff like 2 days ago.
Yep. Just made it out of Pennsylvania. We're out here in Arizona, and it feels great.
For sure, dude. So he came out right when it's hot as fuck, 100 degrees outside, but he has a show with Mike tonight. He came out for some work, and while we were shooting some content, I'm like, you know what? Do you want to do the pod? Yeah, I mean, it's kind of spur of the moment, but I'm glad that you made the decision to come on.
How can I say no?
Fuck yeah, dog. Hey, I've had all the other homies on, so it was a matter of time before.
It's only right.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So I like to kind of start, because obviously, like I said, you're multi-talented, dude. You've started companies. You've helped people start companies. I mean, you've built brands up from nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I do kind of want to get, before you even start building companies and all that stuff, you grew up in PA, right?
Yeah.
So what was like the early days in PA? Like, well, I mean, what were you doing? Like sports, or I know you were skating and stuff like that. But yeah, what was those early days like?
So skateboarding was my whole life. It was everything I did up until a couple years ago. I got into skate culture before I started skating. I would play like the Tony Hawk Pro Skater games.
Classic.
And that made me like interested in it. But like actually skating, I never really thought I would try it. And my friend Jared, we were playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, and he goes, yo, I see a skateboard in your dad's garage. Should we skate? And I'm like, I don't know, dude. Like, I already know it's not going to be my thing.
Yeah.
I think I was on the board for like 15 minutes, and I'm like, all right, I can't get off. And like, now it's been 15 years, and I'm like, that's crazy to even think about. But yeah, through skating, it just kind of taught me a lot. I went to Camp Woodward, which is like the biggest action sports camp.
That's in Pennsylvania, right?
It's in Pennsylvania.
That's right.
It's like 3 hours away from me.
Oh,
so
amazing.
Kind of crazy, but like that really taught me to be independent. That was my first time being away from my family, even though it was just like a week. But like I did that for a couple summers and back to back couple summers. And dude, it was so much fun. But like over there, like in Pennsylvania, it's so humid.
Yes.
So it's like when you're skating for 8 hours a day, you're going through so many shirts, you're going through so much water.
Yeah.
It's crazy out there. But yeah, I really just skateboarded, and that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a pro skater. I think really thinking about it, I just wanted to have a positive impact on the community. And as I grew up, I realized like I don't have to be a pro skater to do that. I never made it as a pro. A lot of people like call me a pro skater. I'm like, technically no, but I appreciate the compliment. But yeah, I first got sponsored when I was like 13, and then
so it's quick.
Yeah, so I learned pretty quickly. I feel like back then I could just kind of like fling my feet and like do what I wanted to do. It didn't necessarily look good. So over the years, I feel like as you get older, you can't do a lot of the stuff you could when you're younger. but the stuff I could do now, I can make it look a lot better than what I could when I was like 13. It's that style.
Yes.
And style takes time, sadly.
For sure. Damn, dude. So those early days, I feel like skateboarding is such an important part of any creative's life because of the fact that it teaches you to fail and to try again.
For sure. Yeah. And you're just falling down all the time on purpose. Like you're making yourself jump downstairs just to get hurt, just to land the trick eventually.
Yes. For that satisfaction of like, I did it.
It feels so good.
Yeah, dude. And that's a parallel that I'm sure that you carried through all of your, career eventually, because when you failed at something, it was just an opportunity to become better at it.
Exactly. Like I don't like giving up. And I think anytime there's been like a failure, which there's a ton, and a lot of people don't see that because
of course
social media is kind of like a highlight reel. So people are like, oh, all this good stuff's happening. Like, you're good. And I'm like, okay, it's not all sunshine and rainbows out here. Like, there's definitely a lot that I'm working on personally, and like a lot of career stuff that just didn't work the way I initially thought. But it's all part of the process.
Exactly, man. And I mean, people don't see that, but it's like, that's the type of shit that's what makes people great, is like those things that they're doing behind the curtain, those personal things that they're overcoming that people don't see.
For sure.
So, yeah, man, I love that. So then the beginning days, like what was like the music influence around the house? What were you listening to, like your parents or your siblings or anything like that? What was in the house?
I'm the most uncultured person ever.
Oh, really?
I'm going to put that out there. So basically my 5th grade teacher, shout out Mr. Mac, that guy's a legend. I actually taught his son at skate camp for the past 2 years. So
no way. So full circle moment.
Full circle moment. But he's the one who introduced me to skateboarding and rap music.
Really?
So I would say George Watsky and Eminem were the first rappers I've ever heard.
Hell
and that's kind of what I listened to. And then funny enough, Futuristic.
Wow.
He was one of the first rappers who I'm like, yo, this guy's crazy. So he's been my favorite rapper for years now, since I was 13.
That's crazy.
And yeah, I was just telling my homie, I'm like, I literally grew up listening to Futuristic, Hobson, Jonas, and Logic. Those guys had such a big influence on like my skating and just my teenage years.
Yeah, dude. So then to be able to work with some of those people later on in life is crazy full circles, dude.
Yeah, it's insane.
Dude, damn. So then creating music, because I mean, obviously you're a musician as well, and you make music as Jgriff. And when did you start like making music, or like when was that? Like, is those early days as well while you were skating? Or
so funny enough, my 5th grade teacher, our first homework assignment was to come up with a nickname. So with skating, Paul Rodriguez was my favorite skater.
Hell yeah.
Still is. He goes by P-Rod.
That's right.
So we came up with a nickname and we had to graffiti it on a notebook paper. So like I went by Jgriff, and it just kind of stuck like all through my life. So when I started making music, I'm like, I feel like I gotta go by Jgriff.
Yes.
Why not?
For sure, man.
It just made sense. That's funny how it's all full circle. Like saying it out loud, I'm like, wow, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, dude. You see these like things that make sense. That's why you're here today. I mean, for real. Today's episode is sponsored by Lantern Coffee, based out of my hometown, Grand Rapids, Michigan. If you're still sipping on that gas station coffee, this is your sign to get your life together. Lantern does coffee the right way. Whole beans, small batch, straight from the source. I personally get 2 bags a month myself. It's what fuels us here every day on Mars. If you want to taste what I'm talking about, go to lanterncoffee.com, use promo code ONMARS for 20% off of your first order. That's lanterncoffee.com, use promo code ONMARS, 20% off your first order. Treat yourself, because friends don't let friends drink bad coffee. Let's get back to the show. So, I mean, were you like playing music early on, like playing instruments and stuff like that? Or what was like that first like inspiration of like creating music as Jgriff then?
I just enjoyed going to concerts So kind of the way I got into music, I saw Futuristic live in Philly years ago. I think I was 16 at that time. And there was an artist named Zero, and he came out. He takes his hood off, long red locks. Not expecting him to look like that, but he sounded just like Eminem. Now he makes rock music, and he's like pretty popular.
Yeah.
But his music, I got into that, and then his producer, I kept hearing the tag in all of his songs, and I looked him up, and he goes by No Love for the Middle Child. He's working with MGK and all those guys now.
Damn.
But yeah, his name's Andrew Miore, and I became friends with him. He came over, hooked me up with concert tickets to their own show. It was him, Zero, and their friend Jeremy. And yeah, I taught him how to skate a little bit. He gave me tickets to the show. Crazy connection, how all this links.
Yeah.
And then I like networking with people.
Absolutely.
I love talking to people, like seeing what they're about. So I DM'd all the openers at that show. And I met this guy, Alex Catrombone, and he's been my best friend, my mentor with music. And he really like put me on to like what equipment I should use. Like he got me from like rapping to doing more melodic stuff. And he kind of really coached me through that. So it's kind of funny because Futuristic had a really big impact on like how this whole thing kind of comes full circle.
Absolutely.
And it's just wild.
That is crazy, man. But that's like a futuristic type thing to hit people up on the DM and like, cause he did that in his early days of his career, you know, and so that's what blew him up, you know, is being that personable kind of dude that everyone liked. And I think you kind of taking that same angle, that makes sense that you looked up to Futuristic, you know what I'm saying? So then that homie that kind of helped you develop your sound then, is that when you really started realizing like, man, I can sing? Because you can sing, bro. You got a singing voice for sure.
Thank you.
For sure, man. Was that around that time or were you kind of always like singing as a kid and stuff like that too?
No, I could not hit a single note in my life. I did rapidy rap stuff for a while. Not very fun for me to listen to it, at least. There's still some people who are like, that's hard. I'm like, I don't know what you guys are listening to. I think we're listening to different things. I'm not a fan of that kind of music for me anymore. And then, I've never sang in my life. And I just posted this on my story the other day and a bunch of people slid up and they were like, I feel you. But in choir class in school, I lip synced everything.
Bro, I did see that, dude. I saw you post.
I never wanted to sing. Like, I was so self-conscious about it.
Yeah.
But in college, I went to Rider University. It's only like 30 minutes from my house in New Jersey. And my roommate, Justin, he made music. So he was doing more melodic stuff. His influence was like P&B rock.
Nice. Okay.
And he made music like that at that time. So I would engineer him. My setup was crazy. I had a mini fridge with a microwave on top, with a microphone on top of that. And I made all my music there for so many years. And
just like on a tabletop stand type situation, or what was the setup?
Yeah, so my dad made like a custom little thing to hold like the acoustic thing and the microphone.
Yeah. Wow.
So that was just on top of the microwave, and we would rip bangers off of that.
Oh, dude.
But
so that's when you started singing though, and you started like kind of finding your voice as like a singer.
That's how I learned how to engineer that type of music, because I mix all my own stuff. So then I'm like, okay, I kind of want to try this. So I would have my roommate. I would kind of like hum it out to him. He would sing it. I would turn his vocal just like a little quieter, and I would sing over it. And then I would mute his. So that kind of helped me like get ready to hit the notes.
Yeah.
And then, eventually after making a couple songs like that, I just wanted to try to do it myself. And it's kind of like skating. Like I was able to like land the tricks, but it wasn't pretty. I was able to like hit the notes, but it wasn't saucy.
Yeah.
So
good way to put it.
I make a lot of music. Like not as much as a lot of people, but I have like almost 200 songs out. I've always been like, just make something, put it out. Like I know I'm always going to get better. So I don't want to like hold myself up by just keeping all the music to myself. And just over time, I've been learning how to be more comfortable with it. I feel like for a while, I was starting to like find my voice, but then I realized, like I know how to use it in different ways, but it's not easy to like sing back. And now I feel a lot more comfortable where it's like the music I'm making now, I'm like, oh, it's like easy for me to sing. And I think it should be that way. It should feel more natural.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think finding your voice as a musician as an artist really is the biggest thing, because
It's
if you
tough.
sound like other people too, it's going to be easy to be like, oh, that guy sounds like this guy. But it's like, no, you sound like Jgriff. You know what I mean? Like finding your sound and your sauce.
That's the goal.
Yeah, exactly, man. I love that. And I like how you related that to like skateboarding in a sense.
Yeah.
That's the parallels. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's like,
It's all one big creative part of my brain to me. They
Yeah,
all
dude.
run simultaneously.
I love it, dude. And then getting into kind of like the inspiration for like art and design and things like that. And obviously
Yeah.
this is something that probably was early on, like as a kid, you were probably just like naturally gifted with like pencils and stuff like that. What was your art direction as a kid then?
I don't know if naturally gifted is a good word. I don't think I'm naturally gifted at anything. I just do everything a lot till I feel decent with it.
Okay.
But I always liked art classes in school. And at first, I didn't want to go to college. I'm like, I want to be a pro skater. Don't need to go to college to do that. And my mom told me, like, it's just like skating and going to high school. Like, you could go to college and still skate. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I guess
could
I'll
do
give it
both.
a go and just see how it works.
Yeah.
And I was going to go for like fine art. And my teacher pulled me aside and was like, there's really no easy way to make a lot of money in this. And I don't do anything for the money. I do it for experience. But she was just kind of looking out for the longevity of my career. And she was like, have you thought about graphic design? I'm like, I don't even know what that means. And she was like, it's just art on the computer. So I went to college for graphic design. And that was right around the time I started making music. I started making music my senior year of high school, so 2018. And I think my first album was like the only thing I didn't do the art for. It was like fan art. Like I had a fan from skating who just made me something like fan art, and I just cropped it, made that the album cover. But then I started making all the artwork for my singles and albums. And then in college, I was at the place where all the people would come to record. So then I would start doing their art. And that's kind of how that became a thing.
Damn, dude. So that's like the early days of like Chromatrix Design.
Yeah, Chromatrix. So
Chromatrix. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry for the
No,
mispronunciation.
you're good.
Chromatrix. I love that.
I wanted to name that something like unique. And then after the fact, I realized no one knows how to say it. And I should have chose a different name. But I'm too deep now.
Damn, dude. So like in those days when you're recording artists and you're doing their artwork and having those creative collaborations, did you already have the company Chromatrix, or was that like just before you even came up with the name, before you even decided to make it a company?
So I came up with that right before I graduated college. This was like after COVID. COVID made my college experience weird because I was only on campus for a year and a half. We all got sent home, just like we all got phone calls and emails saying we had to evacuate.
Damn.
And from that point on, it was like most of my stuff was just online. And then that last year, it was like partly in person. So I had a graphic design class and I had to make a logo. And I'm like, I have a logo for my clothing brand. At the time, I had a marketing company. I had a logo for that. I had a Jgriff logo. I'm like, I have a logo. I have all the logos I need.
Yeah.
So I was talking to my teacher and she was like, have you thought about doing something for your design work? And I'm like, no. But like, I never really thought about making it into a company. But then I'm like, I thought it would be cool because I'm like, there's one thing to like freelance stuff and a lot of people do that. But I'm like, I always try to be as educated as I can when it comes to like the business side. So I'm like, I think thinking about my future, learning how to even set up an LLC and like getting a business bank account and like a business credit card, those are all going to be things that can't hurt me.
Yes.
You know? So
correct.
I definitely don't regret that at all. And then also I didn't want to do like Jordan Griffin designs. Like I wanted something like cool sounding.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and to almost build like a platform where it's bigger than just Jgriff. It's a company that like almost, it seems like it's a big team when it's just you. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah, so I'm actually that's still gonna be the LLC. I know I have like the Chromatrix Design Instagram page. I'm actually about to rebrand that into like the next chapter of design stuff.
Do you have a name and everything picked out? This isn't public stuff yet. You don't have to talk about it.
I feel like by the time this drops, it's probably gonna be a thing.
Okay, it'll be dropped in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's gonna be a thing by then.
Sweet.
All right, so
Sweet.
You guys might have seen it already, but it's gonna be called the Creative Commons, and it's gonna be tied into the company I work for full time called Grouped, and it's basically a place for musicians. It's like mixing Patreon elements of like OnlyFans, Zoom, Discord, and all that together.
Okay.
And it's a really great platform to like directly put the power in the hands of the artist so they could help monetize their career and they don't have to rely on like streaming revenue and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And also a lot of companies who try to do a model like this, they take such a huge percent and it's just not great for the creator.
Yeah.
And I set out one of these pages before, and this is one of my failures. I called it Griff Gang Elite. So growing up and skating, I had a clothing company called Griff Gang. That was my second one. First one was called Jag, just my initials.
Yeah.
Jag Skateboards.
Wow.
And I thought it would be cool for the community to kind of like, I feel like all the OG fans would be like, oh, Griff Gang, like I could like be a part of the group again.
Right.
And then I realized I hate making things about me. And it kind of fizzled out because it just didn't really feel like how I wanted it to feel.
Yeah.
So I talked it over with the team and we were on an artist call and I kind of had that aha moment. And he was like, I don't want the name to do anything with me. And I'm like, the name was what was holding me back the whole time. So it's going to be called the Creative Commons. And I want it to be a platform to not only host new music that's coming out, but to also showcase design projects, video work I'm doing. Because I have my hands in a bunch of different things. And it's hard to showcase all that on like one or two Instagram pages and have it make sense.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm like, oh, it's all stuff I'm doing. But like some people, or I personally don't want to post a bunch of other people's artwork on my main feed because I want people to know like, oh, this is my page. So that's why I have a design page and then my personal page. But I kind of want this to be like, not even really content. I just want to like do talking videos and just walk people through like, this is how I designed this. This is how I got the opportunity to design this. And just kind of just have it be a central hub for creators to join. And if they want help doing something, I could kind of give insight. They could watch my process. And yeah, I'm just trying to find ways to like give back to the community.
Yeah, dude. I mean, the Creative Commons, that's a great like name for something that's almost like essentially like a place where someone can go if they don't really have like the confidence and they need some assistance and they want someone to almost like manage their career to a certain degree if they don't know how to do it. And I think you having your hand in multiple lanes in, you know, entertainment and design and just like the industry as a whole, you have so many tools that you can help other people. So I think that's a beautiful thing that you want to give back. And I think it's something that a lot of people that are creatives have like a hard time making things about them, especially if they're, you know, their whole career is like making stuff for other people too, because you've been helping other people from the beginning. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, I think that makes sense that your next thing is going to be building that like that center.
It's more community based.
Exactly.
And that's what I like to do. I love building with people. Like when I first started really networking with design, I would reach out to every artist I've ever heard of, and I'd be like, I want to do this for you. I'm not going to charge you a dime. And I worked for free forever.
Wow.
And like that's how I got opportunities, because it's like I didn't care about money. I knew that would come eventually.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to get my name out there and show people like, hey, I could be an asset to your team. I just need you to trust me one time and see if you like it. If not, no worries.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's such an important piece right there where like a lot of people that are coming up, it's very easy for them to say no to stuff because they're not getting paid. And
Yeah.
especially in this day and age where it's just like everyone wants to make money off of being a creator. It's like, yes, but it's like one of those things where it's like you can,
Yeah.
but you kind of got to build up the portfolio, do things
do.
for the love and build connections on a personal level before you can actually make money off of it.
For sure.
Yeah, and I think that's something that you did very well from the beginning. I mean, to be almost like a friend of these artists before they were in business with you.
Exactly. And like, I think that's kind of how I became friends with a lot of these people, because it's like I became their go-to guy for graphics, and then they would be curious on like how I did one thing or the other. And then it's like, now we're calling each other not for even work stuff. We're just checking in.
Mhm.
And that's so cool to me. I love when people see this as like a friendship, and it's not so transactional, like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm giving you money, you do this for me, blah, blah,
Mhm.
blah. Like, it's so cool to build with people,
Yeah.
and especially like help people find their personal brand and see how they could continue that.
Yeah,
That's
man.
my favorite feeling.
I love that so much. And I think the higher you go, it's like you find like the less people pay for shit too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where it's just like the more friends you have and the more people you make friends with, like people do favors for you, you do favors for them. And it's just like,
Exactly.
I think that's like the most beautiful thing. And I don't think people that are not in the industry, I don't think they see that. And it's like they see all these collaborations happening. It's like, oh my God, they're probably making so much money. It's like, they're probably not making anything. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
it's a lot of just like doing favors, but
Yeah.
I will say it's like, maybe it's just me, but I never expect anything from
Mhm.
somebody.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a good expectation to have, because some people are like expecting someone to do a favor because they
Right.
did something for them.
That's right.
And it's like, dude, I get so surprised when like I do a shirt design for someone and they're like, oh, here's the shirt. I'm like, really, for me? And they're like, yeah, you made it. I'm like, dude, thank you so much. Like, I'm super hyped on this piece. But like,
yeah, I mean,
it's
that's
little things like that where I'm
Facts.
like, you would do that for me? And they're like, shut up, it's a t-shirt.
Yeah, thanks, dude. I mean, that happened the other day in the studio. You're like, oh, dude, these turned out sweet. And then Futuristic's like, oh, you didn't even get one of these? Like, you designed this merch? You
Yeah.
didn't even have one, bro? Like, what do you mean? Dude, I mean, I love that so much. I think that's like, it's cool that from the beginning you've had that community type of vibe. And I
Yeah.
think it's so important. I mean, because recently you posted a video, you did a cover for Logic. And what was the other artist?
Matt Corman.
Matt Corman, and
Yeah.
you showed the process and how you were able
Yeah.
to incorporate your photography with your design, and like it was a really quick video, but you showed your whole process in like 20 seconds.
I don't believe this is my life right now, dude. I'm not gonna lie. Yo! You should be familiar with Logic and Matt Corman. These two just dropped a song together. I did the artwork, and it looks something like this. So let's break it down. After I cut the guys out, I played around with the typography and came up with this stack design that caught my eye. To add that Jgriff sauce, I went outside and took pictures of the clouds and then removed the sky. After playing around with the blending modes, I thought it added a cool smoke effect. I threw some texture on that bad boy, and the rest was history. Yeah.
And that's the type of stuff that you'll probably be posting on like Creative Commons and things like that.
Yeah. So for example, when people join the Creative Commons, in like college, I made a bunch of design asset packs that I wanted to sell, and I never really did much with them. So I want to give like $500 worth of assets to people who sign up for free,
Hell yeah.
just as like a bonus. And I used my cloud pack to make the cover for Logic, and
Yeah.
it was very simple. I went outside with my phone, took pictures of clouds, took the sky out, so it's just like a PNG of the cloud, and then you play with like just blending modes, and now it's on a cover art with Logic and Matt Corman, like so random. Like,
Yeah,
yo,
dude.
little me big me still hyped. I'm not gonna lie, that's crazy.
Yeah. In the video, you started with like, I can't believe this is my life. You know, like
Yo,
that's such
no,
like
that-
a kid
I-
thing to feel. You know what I'm saying?
I started doing that recently. So the past year has been super eye-opening with a ton of opportunities.
Mhm.
And after I like hop off a phone call where I'm like stoked that something's happening, I'll just hit record on my phone and I'll just record my natural reaction of me just like saying how I feel. And it's kind of funny because like I just do it to look back on, like, it's kind of like a journal. I just don't write it down. It's just like a vocal diary entry almost.
Yeah, a vlog. But
But-
you're just not putting it out necessarily right then and there. You're just recording it in the moment to maybe look back
Yeah.
later.
It's really just for me. Actually, the coolest part is the album I'm working on right now. There's a lot of little pieces of those like journal entries that I'm cutting for like little like intros or outros of songs. And I'm like, it feels so good to me because it's natural.
Yeah.
Like I feel like a lot of people when they're doing like intros to a song and they want like a talking part, like you could tell it sounds scripted.
Yeah.
And I mean, some people might think it sounds like that. I don't know what other people think of it yet.
Right.
But I'm like, to me, I know it's like a natural reaction. So it just like feels better. It feels more like me because it's literally just what I'm going through. And
time stamping those moments too in songs is so important because 10 years from now, you're going to look back and bring yourself back to that moment of filming that video. And you're like, oh my God, that's the audio from like that actual reaction when it happened.
It's kind of crazy to think about. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, I love that so much. And I do want to talk about like in that video, you talk about like adding the Jgriff sauce. And I think that's kind of funny because like taking the picture and then putting it into Photoshop and then incorporating like your graphic design mind with just like a simple iPhone photo. You know, it's like, I feel like that's a very important thing is incorporating your photography and the design. It's not just starting from the design and then, you know, whatever from the computer all in the box. It's like you can incorporate pictures like whatever. And I think that's something like finding your voice in design. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one thing I'm doing a lot more now is just trying to put a more personal touch on things. So it's like, I'll hand scan a texture or like with the homie Michael Manelli, like his last tour shirt, he wanted me to handwrite all the dates. He thought my handwriting was so cool. And I'm like, I don't think it is, but if you like it, I will do it for you.
Yeah.
And he goes, yo, it's just like a font. I'm like, yeah, but like it came out sick, but I'm like doing something like that. I'm like, no one has my handwriting. So I'm like, it just makes it unique.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool because doing stuff like that, like people are starting to know like, oh, like they send me stuff on DM. They're like, yo, did you make Graham's tour hoodie or something for Nick? Like, it looks like your style. I'm like, yeah.
Damn. So they're recognizing it.
Yeah. I'm like, that's kind of crazy. Like I have a style and I don't even know it necessarily. It's not like I'm going for like a Jgriff kind of style when I approach these. I just kind of do what feels right. But
dude, that's beautiful. I mean, that's like music, skateboarding, design. You know, they all have like their own style. And I think like finding that style in all of those fields is how you become a professional at it. Because like people aren't going to come back if it's not something that's like bringing them in. And I think that's what brings them in. You know, when people have a different style in skateboarding, you're like, oh my God, that was so clean. You want to keep watching that skateboarder. And it's like in music, the same thing. When you hear something that like hits you a certain way, I've never heard something like this. I got to keep listening. I've never seen something like this. I got to see what else he can do or, you know, ask him for some work that's in his style. Like people start looking after, like they want that. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Dude, I love that. And getting to a point where you're, you know, being very intentional about creative collaborations in design, I think that's something that, you know, you've done really well outside of business, but then like, you know, making it a business, meeting people like Futuristic. And I mean, you started up Tough Love, the chain that you're wearing right now with Futuristic.
Yeah, that was crazy.
It's like, how did that whole thing start? Because you had already had experience running clothing brands and starting stuff up for yourself. So you were kind of able to just parlay that into Tough Love.
So how I actually met Futuristic is I was an intern for him in college.
Oh, wow.
I needed an internship to graduate. And he was like just kicking off Indie Amplify.
Right.
And I was honestly gonna fake an internship. Sorry, Mom. And I'm like, people could book me through the site, and they were. So I was getting like weekly graphics. So I was gonna just turn those in and be like, here is my internship work for the week.
Yep.
And I got scared. I'm a good kid at heart. I can't lie to people. So I'm like, I'm just gonna shoot Tanya an email and see if I can make this happen. And they came back and they were like, yeah, we could totally do that. So I think I was like their first ever intern. That was back in 2021.
Wow.
And I remember the first big job he gave me was like Black Friday flyers. And I think I ripped like 100 of them in a night. I just stayed up all night, sent him all them in the morning for all the different artists on the platform. And that's how I like got into that circle kind of.
For sure.
And then at the end of that year, he invited me out to Arizona for the first time. And yeah, we just kind of became friends after that. Like we just talked all the time, and I do pretty much all of his design stuff from cover art to flyers, merch. And yeah, he just became a really good friend of mine.
Yeah.
So the last time I was in Arizona was 2.5 years ago. And that was when we got like the first samples approved for Tough Love. And yeah, he wanted to start a clothing brand. And I told myself, I'm like, I tried to do this 2 times already. I'm like, the next time I do it, it's got to be like top quality stuff, because before I would handprint everything myself in my house.
Yeah.
And it was a process. So now having screen printed stuff done by professional people, we get to pick the garments we want. We get to do custom tags. You know how crazy custom tags sounded to me back then?
Hell
I'm like,
yeah.
that's crazy.
Yes.
But like doing that was so cool. And our message was basically like, hey, we want to do something that gives you like real advice. So we kind of had like quotes. That was our thing. There would just be quotes, and they would say, it would be like tough love advice, you know? So our initial content, we would go around with GoPros and we would interview people on the street. We would ask them their tough love advice to the world. What is your tough love advice on relationships to the world? I agree.
Communication. And stay loyal. Communication.
Yes.
Yeah.
Be spontaneous with each other. Go on dates. Never stop dating your partner. And always date your best friend.
And it was so cool to see what people had to say. Then we would hook them up with some clothes, get some pictures of them for the socials. And that was really, really cool.
Absolutely, man. And those early days with Futuristic, what did he bring you out here for initially, like 2.5 years ago? Was it to work on Tough Love and stuff? Or like, was it just kind of like, hey, like come hang out?
My first time out here was 3 years ago. Then I came back and we did the Tough Love stuff.
So the first time that you came out, why did he bring you out here?
I think he just wanted me to kind of like meet the team at Indie Amplify and just kind of like see what it's like outside of Pennsylvania. I've never gone west before. So
wow,
it's
that was
like,
your first experience?
That was my first time.
Let's go, dude.
Yeah, so actually this trip is my first time being out solo out here. It's my longest solo flight.
Let's go, dude.
Crazy. So I'm going to be coming out here more often.
Let's go, man. No, I mean,
to
come into Zach's circle, he moves so fast and so efficiently. So like the fact that you were able to keep up with him, I think that's probably why you guys, hit it off very quickly.
For sure.
Yeah, because you were professional in your field and he's professional in his field. So you guys can meet at that level.
Yeah, and like working in person with somebody, like, it's so cool because in Pennsylvania, like, I have a bunch of homies, like my homie Eli, my homie Connor, like they're always helping me like shoot content or help get some quick pictures and stuff. But like, they don't do this for like a profession, and like they love what they do. So it's like, I don't want to like drag them too far into it. So being out here with a bunch of like creative people who are super like-minded and have like super similar goals to me, it's so cool because it's like, first of all, this time difference is kicking my butt, but like, I'm not letting that stop me. I'm still going to bed late, waking up early. I just want to work as much as I can.
Yeah.
So it's like really fun just to hop straight into it and see what I could accomplish.
For sure, man. Yeah. And it's exciting to be around creative people that are inspiring.
You
know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah. It's like, I guess that is like such an important piece to like staying inspired, is keeping those people around you. Because if you had people around you that are just working regular 9-to-5 jobs that don't really understand, it's going to be hard to relate to them and also get feedback and build and with a team and feel like you're actually doing something that's worth doing if no one else is like hyping you up or like meeting you there. You
That's
know what
the
I mean?
thing. It's like sometimes back at home, it's like I feel kind of like a black sheep because I'm like, I don't know if anyone really like knows exactly what I do. Like, I don't know how to describe what I do. Like, I don't know how to give an elevator pitch of what I do. Like, I think your intro was perfect. I'm like, I wish I could like just remember exactly what you said so I could tell people that, because I'm like, I don't know what to say. Like, and people don't really know what to say either. Like, they're like, oh, like you could, like, that's your job. I'm like, Yeah.
Yeah,
And
man.
I almost feel like it's like frowned upon almost in a weird way. I don't know.
Well, it's like you're also kind of like a younger cat, so it's like you're coming up in a different generation. You know what I'm saying? To be graduating in 2018 or 19 or what was graduating 2018 or 19?
2018 was high school. 2022 was college.
Oh well, I guess high school graduation was 2018.
Yeah.
So like that is like a different generation. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
grew up with technology. Like you guys are doing this at a high like entrepreneurship is a thing. Like they
For
probably
sure.
teach that in schools now, but it's like
Yeah.
even growing up 10 years before that, you know, a 2008 graduate, you know, let's say like Zach, for instance, he was a real black sheep. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was when it was just like, it was weird to be like doing your own thing. Like it was like almost like, bro, are you sure? Like that's kind of risky. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like just like thinking about that stuff is like making it in music. A lot of people are like, oh, like I don't like how I have to be like an influencer and content creator and stuff. But I'm like, back then it wasn't like easier. Like to get your music heard, if you weren't signed, you had to sling CDs to everyone, like
physically
physically. That's the craziest part.
Yeah.
And like you would have to do shows and stuff, and like I haven't really dove into the whole performance side of things just yet. I've done a few shows back when I started doing like the rapidy rap stuff. Haven't done a show since like 2019. So we might be changing that soon.
Yeah,
just
it's a matter of time.
Just saying. But where was I going with that? But yeah, it's like it's easier now than ever to make it in music. It's just highly saturated. Like I don't even know the stat anymore because I think it keeps growing. But it was like 100,000 songs would come out every day on Spotify.
Jesus.
I think it's higher than that now, which is insane. And it's definitely higher than 100,001. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, dude.
But
for sure, it's so much easier. The barriers to entry are a lot easier or less. You know what I'm saying?
And now everyone could have like a dope setup. Like you have one of these, you could cut a whole album, you know, and like
I mean, this mic was the same mic that they used. Rick Rubin recorded a Blood Sugar Sex Magic with this mic for the Red Hot Chili Peppers. You know what I'm saying? Like in a mansion in LA. Like you could do this in your house now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if you have one of these with a cloud lifter and a Mac, dude, like
you're set.
You're set.
Yeah, that's the craziest part. I was telling Alco when I got to his studio, I'm like, this is only like the second studio I've ever been to in my life. I've been doing music for 8 years, but I just do it out of my house.
The DIY.
It's just a way to do it.
Yeah, dude. But I think that's such like a thing that you've carried, like I said, through everything. It's like you're like, I'm going to figure out how to do this at a high level. You know, like I don't really need someone else to like, that's why you didn't really have to pay people for studio time. It's just like, you just figured out how to do it yourself.
Yeah,
But
I mean, early music, the mixes weren't good. Didn't know what mastering was like.
But to your point of like not letting that hinder you from putting it out, not letting that hinder you from creating.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it makes what I do now a lot better. I mix everything in my homie Time Flex. I'll send him my mix stems and he'll just put that polish on it. And I'm like, dude, the team now, it's like, especially with music, it's very, very small, but I'm so happy with the quality of everything. And it feels so good to make that kind of music now. So
for sure, where it's like, even though you're not necessarily doing everything from start to finish, you still feel like it's in-house.
You can't do everything. Like it's just gonna hold you back. And like a lot of people ask me if I have an interest in like getting into producing, and I'm like, it would be very cool to be able to do that.
Right.
I'm not interested enough, and I don't like need to be a producer, you know? Like that just complicates it, and then that's a whole nother process.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, already you wear a lot of hats just because like you're running a bunch of different businesses and different industries, but it's like to your point, like within those different industries, you have people that are like you're delegating tasks to, you're helping, you're sending things to, and like getting back from them, and like almost like having that team is how you create big things. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't create great companies by yourself necessarily. You know what I'm saying? I think like any great company has a team behind it.
And then even just collaborations, like
Absolutely.
I started making music just with all my homies on like a local level. Like I would just find people I went to school with who produced and made music, or I would reach out to people on Instagram who were like in Philly. I live like an hour outside the city. So we would just remotely collab and stuff like that. And that's why I love music. I love making music with my friends. And that's kind of what this album is to me. Like my producer homies are helping me cook up the production, and my artist homies are hopping on some of the songs. There's a lot of solo records too, which is cool, just so I could like help tell my story more.
Yeah.
But just collaboration, dude, it's so important. And if I had to do everything, the album wouldn't mean as much to me.
Wow. Yeah, for sure. And it would take away too, because the amount of effort and stuff that you'd have to put into that album, you wouldn't be able to run these other things and wear these other hats at a high level.
Exactly.
You know what
and
I mean?
like I've been working on the album since November of 2023. Like the song we were shooting with Zach, I made that in November of 2023. That was the first one I made for the album.
Damn. So it's like almost 2 years old already.
I know.
That's
and it comes out in like 2 weeks.
Hey,
like,
so when this drops, probably
yeah,
coming out.
That'll be sick.
Yeah, dude. Hey, Martians, real quick. I appreciate you taking the time to listen or watch wherever you are in the world. Over the last few months, the Martian family has grown so much. I could not be more thankful for all of my guests and every single one of you who continue to tune in every single week. Subscribers, ratings, likes, and comments all help us grow here on Mars. And it would mean the world. If you haven't already, please go to onmarspod.com/subscribe to subscribe on YouTube. Like and leave a comment, rate us on Spotify. All this good stuff helps keep the engine running to inspire Martians all over the world. P.S. Follow us on Instagram @onmarspod. Okay, let's get back to it. The creative collaboration, though, that's so important. And it's like on that note, I do want to talk about like another creative collaboration that's really big, and that's For the Homies and Stevenson Ranch with Mike.
Yeah,
that's huge.
That's been crazy. That's a newer thing for sure.
For sure. So the For the Homies was first, though. Is that right? Or was it?
It's all
together.
For the Homies is like their LLC. So Stevenson Ranch and Keep Going, they're like subcategories of that LLC.
Gotcha.
So the artist Mike, Keep Going is like his merch. Stevenson Ranch is a separate company that people like relate back to Mike, but like people who don't know Mike have Stevenson Ranch, and
they just like the brand.
It's just a brand,
right?
And it's sick because it's like bigger than him, bigger than his music.
Absolutely, yeah. And for people that don't know, is the artist Mike, formerly known as Mike Stud. But yeah, he goes by Mike now, and he started up a clothing company, Stevenson Ranch, and he's had his own brand for a long time. But talk about that connection with Mike and how that kind of got started. Was that something that came from working with Futuristic, and how did that? Yeah,
so basically my whole life kind of stemmed from Futuristic. Now that I think about it, so
crazy.
So when I interned at Indie Amplify, I met Tim Weber and
Good Music All Day.
Good Music All Day.
Founder.
Yeah. Has he been on here yet?
No, dude, not yet.
I'm gonna get him on this podcast.
Yeah. Let's get it.
He's so funny. He downplays what he does so much.
He's a legend, dude.
Amazing.
He's a curator, dude.
He's so talented.
Yes.
But I met him at Indie Amplify, and the craziest thing is I don't really think I ever talked to him. We were on like weekly Zoom meetings at one point. I would see him in there, but I really like. I was design stuff. He was, I don't even know what he did at Indie, to be honest. He was handling like Tim's stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember after my internship and co-op at Indie, I saw he posted something on Instagram, and he was with the artist Nic D.
Yep.
And V Wills, and they just dropped their song Sundown. And I hit him up. I'm like, I had no idea you know these guys. Like, I love their music. That's so cool.
Hell yeah.
And he hit me and was like, yo, we got to catch up. And I'm like, yes, I need to get to know you. Like,
what do you mean catch up?
It's more than a catch up too. So we hopped on a call, and it's kind of like this. I just told him kind of like how I got from point A to point B. And then he was like, oh, there's a thing called Grouped that we're about to launch. It's not public yet, but I want to give you like access, like early access to it. And I'm like, I'm in.
Let's go. Yeah.
I'm in. Yeah. So basically that's when I started the Jgriff Gang Elite page that's now rebranding. And he put me onto that. And then I was kind of just like, yo, like if you ever need anything graphic wise, like hit me, like I'll hook it up. I got you. Just pushing that networking
Yeah,
again.
exactly.
And then like we stayed in contact, but like we didn't really like, it wasn't really like a working relationship yet. And then he called me one day. We played phone tag for the whole day. Kind of crazy. Finally catch him at like 10 p.m. He goes, we had an emergency. We filmed a whole podcast and the video files became corrupt. And we need some sort of visual. Like we need like a reel. We need a cover for it. And I sent him everything in a couple hours. And I put in extra stuff too. And I made the podcast cover for the independent podcast with Nic D and John Kilmer.
Oh yeah.
And he was like, dude, you just saved us. Thank you so much. And then one day we were on the phone and he was like, have you ever considered working for us? And at the time I'm like, I don't know, like I'm working for myself. I don't really see myself getting a job, but I didn't think anything like that existed to work in like the music tech space. And I just kind of asked him like what that would
look like.
And essentially he was like, you're going to be doing the same stuff you're already doing. You just don't have to reach out to people. And my cousin Jean Paul, he had me do like this time audit to see like how much I actually do. Like I would write down everything I do every 15 minutes. I did this for a couple days. And when you do that, you're like, oh, I spent so much time doing this thing or the other thing. And you could really see what you're doing. So I was reaching out to people a lot. And when you're trying to build a business, obviously sustaining yourself, you need money. So I'm like, if I was just focusing on the creative stuff and not networking and reaching out to people, I could essentially make more money. So this is like, oh, like this might not be a bad idea. And then I just really believed in the group platform, seeing how Mike runs his Only Steve's. Like, dude's a genius. And I'm like, I have to be a part of this.
Yeah.
So, I signed to Group. I work full time there as their lead designer. And John Kilmer, who works with Mike, he's a coworker of mine. And me, Tim, and John, it's kind of the evolution of the independent podcast. Actually, almost a year to the exact day when I saved them with that podcast cover, I signed to Group. And we started a thing called the Artist Community.
That's right. That's recent. That's, I mean, over the past, couple, when did you guys start that?
So I started working at Group in mid-October. And the Artist Community came like pretty soon after. I want to say like November. I guess we launched in December.
Okay.
And we launched it to give out $1,000 cash and a free feature from Nic D, which is unheard of. Like, Nic is an independent legend.
Yeah.
Love the guy. Super nice guy. Great music. And he just has a good outlook on life. So we launched that. We started doing like, it's all just like a free thing where we just give out game. Like any questions people have, we try to answer their questions. We do free music reviews where every Tuesday we go on and we have people submit music and we give them advice on how to make it better and what they could do to like network with other people. And so me, Tim, and Kilmer do that. And then at one point a couple months ago, and it was kind of crazy how the timing worked on this because like I've been tapped into Mike's stuff for a while.
Right.
And obviously Kilmer's been working with him for
years.
I believe like over 15 years.
Yeah. He was a content manager for him, right? Like a producer. Like he was kind of like his right-hand man when it came to visuals.
Kilmer the filmer.
Kilmer the filmer. Yeah. Dude,
yeah. He was his right-hand man in that. And I guess they wanted to expand the design team. It was just my homie Cam. And he was running the whole operation for Stevenson Ranch and Keep Going.
Wow.
And I'll tell you what, now that I'm involved, like there's a lot that goes on. And for one person to do everything, I'm like, dude,
how are you doing this?
How are you doing this? So it was kind of crazy. So I remember at the start of the year, all this great stuff started happening. And I'm like, I want to like make new goals. And for the past couple years, so a couple years ago, all my goals would be like numerical goals where it would be like X amount of streams on this song or viral videos with like a number of views, and
Got it.
it just kind of took the fun out of it because
Yeah.
I'm like, you would hit those numbers and be like, I want more, and like it didn't feel good. It didn't feel like you accomplished anything.
Wow.
So my goals became not numerical at all, just kind of like opportunities and things I wanted to do. And I'm like, I would love to design like a hat for Stevenson Ranch. I'm like, that would be sick. That would be so cool to me. And I remember I mocked something up again for free, just for fun. I sent it to Tim. Like, this could have been like, this was before Group, like well before I was working for Group. And I think he sent it over, never heard anything back. And I'm like, I think I could do it now. Like, I've gotten better at designing stuff.
Yeah.
I want to do that this year. And then a week goes by and Tim made a new group chat. He goes, yo, this is Stags. He's the creative director of Stevenson Ranch, and he wants to connect with you. And I'm like, oh, they're reaching out to me? Why are they reaching out to me?
Yeah.
So they wanted to expand their team. And yeah, I got called in for like a little interview. He wanted to know a little bit about like how I got into design, what I'm capable of, and like if that's of interest. And obviously I have a full-time job at Groups, and I'm like, I'm willing to work super long days. I'm like, is part-time something I could do? And he was like, yeah, that's kind of what we're looking for. I'm like, count me in.
Yeah.
I'm down.
For sure.
So it's like my goal of making one hat just got blown out of the water because like Mike's doing a tour right now.
Yeah.
And there's like 20 something pieces that I helped with. And I'm like, dude, this is like, it doesn't make sense. Like, I'm wearing one of the shirts right now.
Yeah.
I just got this yesterday. My first time ever seeing one of my designs for them in person. And I'm like, it doesn't feel real still.
Yeah, for sure.
It doesn't feel real.
Dude, it's crazy. I mean, that's such a dope shirt. Dude, did Guest List print that? Or who printed that?
So this is all done by Limitless.
Limitless, okay.
Yeah, they're in California. And
it looks great.
When it comes to merchandise and just like the sheer quantity and speed they operate at is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen an operation like so professional like that. And before I've always just like made the design, sent the PNG, then it magically got printed.
Mm-hmm.
With this, it's like I get to see the whole process of like, oh, we have all these different variations, whether it's like the Not My First Rodeo, we probably mocked it up in like white, black, a tonal print to match the shirt, different sizes of the graphic. And then it's like, we see which ones Mike likes, which ones he doesn't like. Then we have to go make line sheets and like send that out to production.
Right.
And I get to see more of like the manufacturing process.
Right.
And I knew nothing about that. And I wouldn't call myself a pro at it yet because I'm still like very new to it. But like learning that stuff, I just nerd out. I'm like, yo, we're picking new garments. Like, that's fire. Like, I want to know like all this stuff.
For sure, man. Yeah. I mean, those early days of you having your own clothing company and doing it on that local level independently, this is like fucking blowing it out of the water. You're like, this is what I've always wanted to do.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, even with Tough Love, it's like I said, when I do a clothing company, I want to like make sure it's like the best I can make it.
Yeah.
And with Stevenson Ranch now, I'm like, dude, this is like an A1 operation they're running.
Huge.
And I'm so lucky to have the opportunity to be a part of something like that. Cause I'm like I was literally dreaming of this and now it's happening. And I'm here in person for the first time seeing it happen. Even though my shirt says Not My First Rodeo, this is in fact my first rodeo. It's happening and I still don't believe it.
Yeah, dude, that's so funny. It's like, it's your first rodeo to see it all the way through, but it's like, you've been doing this for so long, like in this world for so long. It was just a matter of time, dude. And it's so
just
cool.
a matter of time.
Dude, you set this up and it was just like, it was already written. You were supposed to live this life. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you. That means a lot.
I mean, it's true. It's true. And I'm sure that like, it's a nice full circle moment for you to kind of like see these things come to life and like, I mean, going to the show in Phoenix, you know, when you're from PA, and it's just like meeting your people out here, like linking up with Futuristic right off the plane, like all these things that you're doing now is just like, hey man, it's the dream that high school you would just only dream of.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. dude.
It's kind of crazy. I wish I could go back and talk to younger me and just be like, just
going.
wait and see what's gonna happen.
Yeah, dude.
I feel like he wouldn't even believe me if I told him.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it sounds wild.
For sure, man. He'd be like, wait, no. Wait, you said who?
Yeah. He goes, no shot.
Good luck, Jay. So then working with Nic D, because he's also part of the artist community as well, is he not?
Yeah, so
Okay.
so Nic D and Mike are both equity holders of Group.
That's right.
And Nic D is kind of how I got the job at Group too. We're going slightly out of order here.
Cool.
But
Chronologically, as far as like
yeah,
the
yeah.
timeline goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so essentially, I was talking to my buddy Nate Good, and he was like, yo, sorry I haven't gotten back to you. Nick's been over here. I've been helping him write and record this album, and it's gonna be sick. It's like 2000s like rap vibes. And I'm like, dude, that's
Dope.
sick.
Yeah.
So I got the inside scoop.
Fire.
And we all know Jgriff just had to do his networking thing. So I remember I pulled up to the skate camp I was teaching a little bit early, and I'm like, I'm gonna DM Nick.
Yeah.
Shot in the dark. I've probably messaged him a decent amount. He's never seen any of my messages. So like, big shot in the dark here. He
Send
saw
it.
my message.
There you go.
Don't know how. And I'm like, dude, I would love to help out in any way I can. And he was like, let's do it. And I'm like, all right, like, what do we got to work with? He goes, don't have an album name. It's just on those 2000s bounce type vibes. That's all he gave me. And then I go home for the next week. I'm like, what do I do? I'm like, maybe I'll try to make like a logo. So I start like mocking stuff up, and I'm just like, album title here, just trying to like find like
Yeah.
a way to make it look nice where I could just like plug and play something in.
Yeah.
And then finally, after a couple days, I just called Nate and I'm like, do you guys have an album name? He goes, Sycamore. And I'm like, I could work with that.
Yeah.
So I started making more logos, and I'm like, it's all presentation with design stuff. So instead of sending Nick a bunch of logos, I wanted to mock it up on a t-shirt, and
Yeah.
I sent it to Nate to send to him. I actually don't think Nate sent it through. And Nick was like, oh, I haven't seen anything you did. I'm like, oh no, it's been like 2-3 weeks at this point. I'm like,
Yeah.
it might be too late here.
Yeah.
He goes, I already have the album cover, because like that's the one thing I really wanted. I'm like, dude, if I could do an album cover for Nic D,
Yeah.
wild. That would
Yeah.
be crazy. He goes, I have the album cover, but yo, t-shirts and stuff, like that'd be sick to do merch. And I'm like, all right, I'll mock up a bunch of stuff. So I'm like, dude, if I could land a t-shirt for Nick, that would be fire. So I mock up like a couple shirts, a hoodie, 2 hats. I send it through. I'm like, he's got to like something. And he's like, these are sick. I want to go with all of them. And I'm like,
Let's go.
what is going on, dude? So then I'm looking at the album cover, and it just didn't feel cohesive.
Uh-huh.
So I had him send me the picture, and I put the sycamore that I put on the t-shirt on the album cover, and I sent that back. I sent it in a bunch of different sizes because I know Nick loves his options. And I remember I was out to dinner with my family. I get a text from Nick, and he goes, just swapped it to this one. Like, you guys don't understand. This album was already uploaded to DSPs. People pre-saved it. People saw the album cover. He swapped the album cover to my album cover. And I'm like,
it spoke to him, bro.
I'm like, what is going on? And then Nick sent everything to Tim. Tim had no idea I was doing any of this.
Oh, wow.
And Tim was like, bro, I know these are your graphics. This is such your style.
Yeah.
I'm like, I was just about to tell you. And that's kind of how the whole group conversation started. He was like, you went above and beyond for this. And
Yeah.
is this something you're interested in like doing more of? And I'm like, yes, dude. Like,
Dude.
that was a pivotal moment for me, because it's like I had a goal. And then I'm like, okay, when I saw that wasn't going to happen, I made a new goal. That goal got blown out of the water. And I'm like, I'm going to shoot my shot again. It can't hurt to just send more options.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, dude, now it's like, he had me, like right after that, he had me make a poster for the album, and he's got one in his studio. I printed one out for me and I put that in my bathroom. And I'm like, actually, that sounds weird to have it in my bathroom. My whole apartment is like windows, so I don't have too much wall space.
Yeah.
And there's a wall for a picture in the bathroom. So I put it there.
I'll be brushing my teeth looking at it every day.
That sounded weird when I said it out loud. And then seeing the album on vinyl was crazy, because it wasn't just like the front cover. Like I did the front, the back, and like I helped send them assets for like the center thing on the vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, dude, like this is a real thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I got the sycamore tattooed right above my knee now.
Yes, dude.
Gotta keep that on me.
That's wild. I mean, that was such a turning point, and you put yourself in that position, really. You know what I'm saying? You put yourself in the position to DM him, put yourself out there, do things for free again, you know, because you wanted to like get the connection, and you know that would be sick if I could get this. You know, it wasn't
That's
like
the thing, it's
how
like,
much is Nic gonna pay me? You know what I mean? You
That's
weren't
the
thinking
thing.
about that.
No, and he did want to pay me for everything, which was insane, because I'm like, dude, like all I wanted was an opportunity. Like this is all a lot to me.
Wow.
So yeah, the whole thing was crazy. I feel like that moment was very pivotal in everything else that came after it. And it came at like the perfect time. Like I needed something to happen, and I made it happen.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's like, I knew Tim knows Nic. I knew Nate knows Nic. He's literally making the album with him. But it's like, I didn't want to go through them. I wanted to ask Nic directly. Because it's like, I don't want any of my friends to think I'm like using them to get to someone else. Like, I think that's so shitty when people do that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want to build my own relationships. And if I meet someone through someone else, like that's a different story. Like I met you through Zach the other day, and like it was natural.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, man, I agree. And I think that's like a big part of this whole industry is making friends before you're just like trying to use them transactionally. And I think that's the biggest thing. And you've done that like from the beginning. From connecting with Zach, that like ended up being like a flourishing relationship, and, you know, putting you in different rooms and things like that. It all started genuinely trying to just work with him because you liked him as an artist and you wanted to do stuff with him just because you loved him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. Crazy.
I love that so much, man. And it makes sense that like all these things have happened so naturally for you just because you're a good dude and you do things genuinely. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Of course, man. I love to see it. And I mean, I've watched, like, since I've been working with Zach for probably like 2.5 years now at this point. So it's like, through a lot of the stuff that you guys have done together, I've just seen through the screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Since you haven't really been out here. But it's like, it's cool to like almost be a part of his, you know, he's changed so much in the time that I've known him. So it's like you're a part of that whole rebrand and that whole like, you do everything for him. You know, you're doing his graphics, and now you're working with his artists. I mean, you've always been working with his artists. So I think everything always just comes like together when you're doing things genuinely from a good heart.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Dude, it's awesome. So, I mean, moving forward with Mike, so you're doing a lot of work with Stevenson Ranch and all that stuff, but I mean, what are you doing for the show tonight with him? Like, cause there's a show tonight, Arizona Financial Theater. It's awesome.
There's a show tonight, and I'm so excited to go. I'm hyped that you get to come along too.
Likewise, man. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure, dude. I didn't realize I was the plug for that.
I guess I didn't even realize it too. It was just like in the studio, it's like, hey, you want to go to the show? Yeah, sure, fuck it.
No, well, I was gonna roll solo, and then Cam texted me and was like, yo, I didn't know you were coming out here alone. Like, this is what we want to do for you. Like,
hell yeah,
yo,
dude.
it's a thing though. It's like, again, I don't expect anything. So it's like, I'm coming out here, and I'm like, it's a good working opportunity to like be out in the field with these guys. Like, I work on the computer, so it's like I could be on the computer right now, but it's like getting out there, like that's good for me.
For sure.
Especially just to like learn more, because it's like, I told you I only did like the design stuff, and now I get to learn more about like the production side. Now I get to learn more about like the event side. Like, I don't know anything about that. So yesterday we did a pop-up at Barstool.
Right.
And yeah, I got to help set up the whole tent and the booth, and I got to just photograph and get some videos of like all the Steves coming in. And like, that was my first time seeing my merch in person. And I know like we have the Arizona exclusive stuff, but it's a tour. So it's like people were coming with stuff from Utah and Clemson and like even the festivals that aren't even like officially on tour that I did pieces in. Like I saw my work from like all over, and I'm like, it's so cool to see all the people travel to like go to a concert. And yeah, everyone I talked to, they were so nice, and like everyone's a Steve, dude. We're all just cool with each other. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, dude, it's cool to be a part of something that's like that you feel like is part, like you feel like everyone else is kind of in your same brain too. Like it's cool, like the people that you're meeting wearing your stuff, you're like, fuck yeah, everyone's so nice, and it's like inviting, and it's also like a very full circle thing to see it in real life because it started on your computer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like things that like were in your brain and then on your screen, and now you're seeing them in Phoenix at a show that's like sold out type shit.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited to see how tonight goes. That's gonna be super cool.
Yeah, man, I'm excited too. So with all the hats that you're wearing and all the things that you're doing at a high level, I did want to ask like a specific question. Like, how do you manage like burnout, like creative burnout, wearing all of these hats?
Yeah, that's a great question. A lot of people ask me how I'm able to manage all this, and like the simple answer is a to-do list. Like I always had it on my phone, but this year I wanted to like put it on paper. And there's something about like physically scribbling out stuff you've done.
Yeah.
It just feels better to me.
More accomplished.
And it makes me feel less of a robot too. And then to piggyback off of that, like the one thing I don't want to do is feel like a robot. Like my job involves me being on my phone a lot, involves me being on the computer a lot. And everything moves quick. Like at group, the artist community, Stevenson Ranch, keep going. Like a lot of it is spontaneous and you got to move on stuff really quickly.
Yep.
But you have to kind of like take a deep breath and like just take it all in, because it's super easy just to like have everything happen and you're like, oh, that happened.
Yeah.
But it's like I have to give myself time to like process it. So I'll go on walks. Recently I started like working out, so it's like I'll be going to the gym, I'll be running, and I do stuff that makes me feel good, like mentally and physically, and that's what keeps me going. And like in Pennsylvania, it's actually cold there. I know it's 100 degrees here today, but like it gets pretty cold there. So it's like in the winter, I only skateboarded like a few times. So now that it's getting nice out again, I've been trying to skate during the weekends and just like get out there for a session or two. And that helps make it so when I do have to come back to work, I don't feel like all I do is work. And I know I work a ton, but like if I could take that extra time to go see my family or see my friends, like I'm always down to do it because I know that helps me.
Yeah, for sure. And in a way, it's almost keeping you grounded. And I think that's like grounded in the sense of like being in touch like with your family and like being in touch with your physical and mental state, you know, not running the shit, not running the kettle black, as they say.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like having to get outside of your brain for a second and go into like the body. And I think that's such a big part of like coming into your work. You can have a clear mind and almost like more intentional when you're spending the time on the computer because you're being intentional about the other time that you're spending. Dude, I mean, that's it. In like running a business, it's all about management and building systems and, you know, having that sustainability. So it's like, you're not going to be able to run a company if you're just running the fucking kettle black all day, every day. You're going to burn out and you're going to end up producing at a low level because your brain's not there. You're fogged up and it's like, you can't even think clearly.
But it's crazy because like, I don't even like, I know it's work, but I love it so much. I'm so passionate about it. It doesn't feel like work to me.
Yeah,
it's all fun. I'm like, I get paid to do this. I'm like, that's crazy,
dude. That's like that is the American dream, to do what you love every day and get paid for it. You'll never work a day in your life.
Exactly. And like even before all these situations with like group, artist community, Stevenson Ranch, keep going. Well before that, I was so happy barely making it by because I'm like, oh, I get to make artwork for music artists I like that's sick.
Yeah,
it's like that's what I wanted to do and I did it.
Yeah.
You know?
If you would have been focused on like, oh man, like this guy already got a job making $50,000 a year, but I'm like barely making ends meet over here. It's just like, if you thought about it like that, you might have quit, you know, and like you might have been like, oh shit, like comparing yourself. And I feel like that's like a death of a lot of people's creativity is like comparisons. And like
you can't compare yourself to people. It's like I had a point where I was doing that and I'm like, I have to stop. Like it makes you feel so badly about yourself. And it's like, if you just surround yourself, even on social media, if you follow a bunch of like-minded people who actually hype you up, and like, if you could call some of those people and like get excited with them over the phone, and then you could go actually meet these people, it's like, that'll keep you going. You just have to surround yourself with the right people. And even like, I've had the same like close group of friends since middle school.
Oh, I love
and
that.
It's been so cool, but it's like, I know I could count on them whenever. But when it comes to like a work circle, I feel like I'm just finding like my bigger group where it's like, it's bigger than just my friends I've had for my whole life. It's a bunch of other people who like do stuff like I do, but also do it in their own way. So it's like, when one person's doing something, it's not like, oh, I'm jealous of this. Or if I ever say I'm like jealous, it's like, dude, I want to do that with you.
Yeah,
like,
totally. Yes.
You know, it's not like, oh, like, why did he get that opportunity? Like, no, I'm going to gas you up. I'm hyped for you.
For sure. I mean, that's the difference, dude. And I think, again, that's like the reason why you've been able to bring it to the level that you have, because you have that kind of heart.
For
you
sure.
know, because on the other side of that, you could very easily get in the ego and be like, yo, how did he get that opportunity? I'm way better, or I know this many people, you know, like, what the heck, you know, almost seeing it as like their success is like a negative thing to you. It's like, that's so backwards. You know what I mean? Like, your homie's like making it, dude. Like, that is sick. Like, hype him up. You know
it's so cool. And I love learning too. It's like, I've been doing this operation solo for a while. So this is my first time really working with a team.
Yeah.
And at first I'm like, oh, I'm not really used to this, where I'm like delegating stuff. And it's like, at Grouped, I'm starting to like, I have an intern under me right now. We're about to bring on a video guy to start working under me. And like, I'm homies with him, and like, he helps me write some music. And I'm like, this is cool, because it's not like, I don't want it to feel like I'm just passing them stuff I don't want to do. I want it to be collaborative.
Right.
And that brings it back to like the whole music thing. Like, I'm just working with friends. So I'm like, the whole team thing, I was like, oh, I want to do it myself. And I'm like, wait, I didn't realize how much teamwork actually means to me.
Yeah, dude. And I think that's like one of those things, like a lot of the people that you're working with now started doing it by themselves. So it's just like, everyone kind of goes on their own journey, and then eventually you start meeting people that can meet you there.
And then it's like, I'm also not the best designer. I'm not the best at anything. So it's like, at Stevenson Ranch, I'm not the lead designer. I have an art director, Cam, that he's the man, dude. He's one of the nicest people. You know what's crazy? I've only met him one time in person so far, but it feels like I've known him forever.
Hell yeah.
Such a nice guy. And he's kind of the opposite of me when it comes to design, because he's never had a formal education in graphic design. He's also colorblind, which, running the whole Stevenson Ranch Keep Going operation solo and being colorblind, like, we got to give this guy some flowers here. Like,
yeah, dude, that's
he's
huge.
Insanely talented.
What the?
And yeah, I really look up to him, and learning from him has been super eye-opening, because I don't have many people who like directly could teach me. I watch YouTube videos. I'll like try stuff until I figure it out. But the amount of like keyboard shortcuts and like little things I didn't know in Photoshop, I'm like, dude, you just saved me so much time. And just even learning why he makes certain design choices, like, that's so important, not to always act like the leader. Like, it's cool to just be a student.
For sure, man. Never stop learning. I mean, even when you're the master, you never really become the master. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like the true masters of the craft are always learning. They're always reading. They're always seeing what's next. Like, how are they going to evolve? And it's like, if you're worried about like like kept keeping up with the Joneses, you're never gonna be the Joneses.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like
You're right.
You're always gonna be
Makes
behind.
sense.
It's like, and I think that's kind of the thing. Like you're always thinking about like how can I move forward? Like how can I learn from other people? And you're like, I think that's something that you've always like kind of had like people that you look up to around you, which has always helped you like continue to grow in your own field.
No, it's definitely nice to have like good role models. Like I feel like a lot of people say like don't meet your idols. At this point, I've met pretty much all the people I've looked up to, and they're all phenomenal people. I might have gotten lucky and just I don't know, but
for sure. And I think that's like a thing too, where like a kind of like a generation even before like the Futuristics and the Nic Ds of the world and like those guys, like because the entertainment industry was kind of shisty for a long time.
Yeah, it still
is in those certain ways. But thankfully you didn't have to deal with a lot of that, and you like from the beginning kind of chose your friends and your people very wisely.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like as long as you're a good person and you move with good intentions, you'll be set. But like I feel like as soon as you start like being like fake and weird about stuff, like people see through that. Facts. Like if you're just you'll be good.
Facts, dude. I agree, man. To anyone listen, any creatives, just be you and do things with a genuine heart, and don't try to like get things out of people. Don't make everything so transactional, because it rubs people the wrong way. And I think friendship is so important in any entertainment type of industry. Sure. So it's just like have it start there. Be a good dude. You know what I'm saying?
Be a good dude. That's it.
Yeah, man. So to kind of wrap up here, you got a lot of stuff to do today, but I do want to kind of talk about like what's next, you know, not only for like the design stuff, the Stevenson Ranch stuff and all this stuff that you're working in design, but like your music and, you know, you're working on your album and the Jgriff, you know, recording artist side. Like, like what can we look forward to for that?
So you scared me for a second. I'm not going to lie, because I'm like, I don't even know what the next like year or two looks like. I haven't thought that far yet. I kind of take it day by day.
Yeah, for sure. But, well, I guess like what are you working on now that you're excited about?
Musically, I started rolling out the album, had the name tattooed on me. It's called Bittersweet. That's the one I'm like really, really hyped on. So I've been rolling out the singles. The next one is called Ups and Downs by me and Futuristic.
Right.
And that song is my baby. I love that song so much, even though it's the oldest song in the album. I think that's one that like hits home for me.
Yeah, you've kept it close to the chest for a reason.
Yeah, you know exactly. What I mean? I was waiting for the right time.
Mm-hmm.
But super hyped on that album. I'm actually dropping another album sooner. It's a collab album with my buddy Alex I was talking about. It's called Lemon Tree. That comes out on July 25th.
Wow. Are you on every song too?
Yeah.
Nice.
So that one's funny because like we first started making music together, and like he hopped on a couple of my records, and I'm like, I would love for him to like ask me to do something.
Yeah.
Like that would be cool. And one day he was like, we should do an EP together. And I think we did a whole album. It was probably like 12 songs. And then it never came out. We had the name and everything because he ended up taking a couple of the songs for his album. I took a couple for one of my older albums. And then we had a couple where like we just didn't want to put them out.
Yeah.
And then, we probably have like 40 songs together. Like we have a lot of music together.
That's crazy.
So we wanted to curate something that was like just a overall good vibe. So we've been dropping singles throughout the past 2 years. At first, we were going to put them all together. Some of the songs performed pretty well just algorithmically. But again, like I'm over the whole numerical goal thing. So I'm like, I don't want to put all these together just so it looks like, oh, we dropped the album. It has this many streams, blah, blah, blah. I don't care.
Yeah.
I just want to curate a dope playlist where like I know I could send that to somebody and they'd be like, it's a great vibe. It doesn't matter what song I click on. So we went through and we picked our favorite 10 songs and we threw some skits on there to make it like fun and like show some personality. But again, like I told him, I'm like, I don't want to like write skits for the album. So they're all voicemails he sent me.
Nice.
I love that. It's so funny because I'm pretty good at like posting my personality and just like a lot of me on social media. Alex is like a little more quiet. and he's one of the funniest people I know. And like, you really get to see him in these voicemails, and I'm
Yeah.
like, this is perfect.
Yeah, and that almost makes it feel like an album, you know,
Yeah.
even though it's just like an EP or mixtape or whatever it is. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, dude.
Yeah, so this is gonna be, I believe, is it 12 or 13 songs? I have to double check, but
Still.
like, yeah, it's gonna be
that's
sick.
an album.
It's an
Yeah,
album.
That's an album for sure.
That's the album, Lemon
Yeah.
Tree, the
Yeah.
album coming July 25th. So
25th. Oh, you guys got a date and everything.
we got a
Okay.
date and everything.
Love
yeah.
that, dude. Yeah, make sure you guys go check that out, July 25th.
So that'll be sick. Bittersweet. That album is my baby. Still polishing it up. I'm almost done. I'm on like the last 2 songs. I just got to polish.
for sure.
so-
But the single with Futuristic called Ups and Downs,
Ups and Downs.
Ups and Downs, that should be out by this time because I think this is gonna come out June 7, I believe, a Friday, whatever that's that week of it's
Yeah,
gonna be
so
Friday.
We're
June
dropping the
something.
next Friday. So June 13th, that song
Okay.
will come out.
Perfect. So then
Yeah.
when this comes out, it will be probably 1 week from that time.
Yeah.
or maybe I got to look at a calendar. I don't know dates, but
For
if
sure.
it's out, go stream that. I'll put the link right here. Pink. But dude, so that's exciting. So you got a bunch of new music, and then remind me the name of that new thing that you guys are doing instead, like the Chromatrix. What is that going to be?
Yeah, so I'm going to change the Instagram to, still got to lock in a username. I don't know exactly what the Instagram is going to be called.
But it'll be
but-
locked in by the time this comes out.
Yeah,
So don't try to steal
but-
this shit.
But the Creative Commons will be
Right.
up and going. I'm
Creative
going to
Commons.
use that and put the song with Futuristic in there early for anyone who wants to hear it. So,
Beautiful. Okay, so
yeah.
they can tap in and be like a part of that community early on to be able to get early access to that.
Yeah. And I'm just going to continue to basically post stuff before I like go public with it. So you'll be able to hear new music, see design stuff that I'm not technically allowed to like post just yet on socials, and
Gotcha.
kind of just hear more raw stuff, kind of like this, where we're just talking. It's not like, okay, guys, today we're gonna,
Yeah.
it's more just like me being me.
behind the scenes, if you will.
Yeah,
I think
it's
that's
really
huge.
just a behind the scenes look.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, people love that. They love to see the process nowadays. I feel like
Yeah.
even more than any time. It's like, because nowadays, like the DIY thing is still so like heavy. They're like, oh shit,
For
that's
sure.
how we did it? I could maybe do that. And then they try to do it. They're like, okay, well, actually, it's
Yeah.
a little bit harder than you make it seem, Jgriff.
It's not easy, but it's all repetition.
Yes, for sure, man.
My homie Shumak, he was like, do you happen to do cover art by any means? And I'm like, yeah, I have a playlist of over 700 songs I did art for.
Slightly.
He goes, yo, you were good. I didn't know you were this good. I'm like, it's not being good. I was really bad, and I just had to make over that many to like build a portfolio and
Yeah.
like be the guy for that now.
Yeah, man.
It's all repetition.
For sure. And like to any creatives listening to this, like the best day to start was yesterday. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
for sure.
It's
And
like-
when me and Zach were doing music reviews
Yes.
for him the other day, somebody sent a beat and he wasn't the biggest fan of it. And I'm like, I have a message for everybody, and I'm gonna tell you guys that message too. When I started doing merch designs for Zach is Futuristic, by the way, if you guys don't know.
yes.
I would spend all day, so many hours making shirt designs. I would send it over and he would be like, nah. That's all he would say sometimes. He'd be like, not it, not feeling it. Nope. He just kept telling me that. And I'm like, damn, dude, like
Yeah.
I wanna get better. But merch was my weakness. And I took that weakness, I made it into a strength. I watched a ton of YouTube videos and I really just pushed myself creatively. And now I work at an apparel company, like the weirdest series of events. But like, if it wasn't for him pushing me, also if it wasn't for liking his music or anything, like none of this would have happened. It's also connected to him. It's kind of crazy.
It's super crazy. And I think that's a very important part to the whole thing, where it's
Yeah.
just like you not being great at it and him telling you this isn't it. That could have easily derailed you in a different direction. You could be like, oh, wow, maybe
Yeah.
I'm shit. Maybe I need
No.
to pick a new lane. You know
But
what I'm saying? But it was inspiration.
It's tough love, you know.
It's tough love.
You need
Wow.
the tough love. And
That's so
some people
fucking
need
true.
to hear
Wow.
that stuff because
Damn.
it's like a lot of people think they're the best at something, but realistically, there is no best. There's always going to be someone better and more talented and who knows more people. You just have to follow your own path, and that's it.
That's it, man. Oh, I love this so much, dude. I really appreciate you taking the time to do it. It's so funny.
sure.
Like when we get into it, it feels like the cameras aren't even there. We just have a
I kind of
conversation.
forgot about him, to be honest. It feels so natural.
Yeah, man. No, so my fellow Martians, you gotta go follow Jgriff on his journey. It's at Jgriff with 2 Fs 830 on Instagram. He has all of his companies that he's affiliated with in his bio. Make sure you check that out. And I mean, look out for the new music. Like he said, he has a new song with Futuristic coming out very soon, if it's not out already. Some new design stuff with Mike and all these people, man. You're everything that you're affiliated with is all going up. So
Thank you, dude.
Yeah, man. So,
Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. So thanks again for coming on, my fellow Martians. We love you so much. And we'll see you next time on Mars. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in and watching this episode of the On Mars Pod and for sticking around to the end, man. I really appreciate you guys. You are the real Martians. Like this video, comment below what your favorite part was, what was most inspiring to you. Subscribe to the channel, hit that bell for notifications here on future interviews coming out soon, and also follow us on Instagram at On Mars Pod. Love you guys so much. We will see you next time on Mars.
Fire, dude.
Thank you, bro.
That was a great episode. That was
Dude.
definitely my favorite podcast I've done. Oh, you already got me set with the water and everything.
Yeah, dude, come on, man. We're professional on this
Wow.
side. Eventually, we're going to get a whole production team, you know what I'm saying?
That'll be fire, dude. This is definitely a dope spot.
Thank you so much, man.